Hi, today I will show you the best 8 builds in PvP. Have fun! The first build is Frost and Fear. You can use your abilities to get weakened or frost on your enemies, and then use your second ability of the crossbow or the mace to inflict the status effect Fear or Freeze. Then you're using the spear or the mace for extra damage and just combo the enemy. For the equipment, so blood and armor, I will use the Shadow Moon armor and Rogue blood, because these combined are the best armor set and blood in the game. This build you should play the green armlet for extra movement speed. For the weapon, play these who you feel the most comfortable with and try to use key weapons as much as possible. When you are not familiar with weapon swapping, I will make a video about it soon. These are the modifications you should use on your jewel. On the very top you see the most important one. Especially the next primarily attack deals bonus damage is important on the Cold Snap, and then removes all negative effects is important on the Phantom Aegis. Next on the list is Phantasma Trance. The illusion counter is perfect when you want to combine magic and rogue together. So here I have some examples which builds are pretty good for this counter. First I have Blood Rage, who is a very nice buff and helps a lot by fighting the enemies with high mobility. This counter with the right jewels can give you a lot of value and possibilities, and it's beginner friendly, so feel free to check it out. The best spells you can use this counter with is Electric Wall, because therefore you can block range attacks where this counter is very weak against. Crystal Lance is also a great option to set up combos. Here you can witness one. When you are playing in a team, you should play with a Void, because this supports your team and provides enemies from using Spear, because you can interrupt them with Void. You should use the armlet of the Spellweaver, who gives you a great shield and spell cooldown recovery, and you don't really need more movement speed through the green armlet. So here you see again the jewels. By the way, they are very important, and I always recommend to get them before level 30 weapons in an open world. On the Misttrance you need a minimum 1.5 fear, otherwise it will be not working on enemies. The first two stats of the Misttrance are very important, otherwise this spell is not gonna work. Blood Rage, the increased physical damage output, is very important here, and you will actually see the difference. When you have another Chaos ability, or you have just an ally or in a group fight, I would recommend to use the left jewel, because this focus on the igniting thing. And this is very important to heal yourself and to do more damage. So keep that in mind. When you want to fight with the Crystal Lance, this is the jewel you have to go. The increased cast rate and the protection range and speed are the most important things here. For the Lightning Curtain there is no bad jewel, so you can make any jewel, it will be good. And these are the spell modifications for the Void. It also works here pretty good with the Chaos Dash, so don't forget that. The next build I'm calling Freezing Movement, and you just run over your enemy with high DPS per second with your power surge and insane movement speed with the green armlet, frost counter, and of course the power surge. So yeah, here are the jewels. I don't have that much recordings of the build because I don't like the playstyle of it, but it's personal and you can get very good with it. So try it out. Next on the list is Double Counter. You can survive a horde of enemies just with the double counter and when you're not playing perfect. So here's an example where I survived against over 5 players. Double counter also works with the legendary slasher very good because you get extra time where you can't get attacked. And then you have already the 2 counters where you also shouldn't be attacked. So it's kinda stacks and is very powerful, as you can see here. For double counter I would choose the green amulet because you lack of movement speed because you don't have any kind of buffs. Here are the jewels for Veil of Chaos. Then we have Discharge, where the stun effect is very important. Also the life leech on the storm shields are very underrated and can save you a lot of times. Here are the jewels you should use for the Bloodrite. First, the daggers and the health you gain when they hit your counter is very important on the Bloodrite. For example, after you combat your enemy and then want to recover your cooldowns, this jewel is the perfect solution for it. On the 4th place there's a full blood build. This build is very unique because you don't have an instant punishment after the enemy makes a mistake, and you also don't have a double dash to close the gaps between your enemies. This build also cannot put any status effects with your spells on your enemy. This is also a major disadvantage. But it also heals a very good amount of health because you have 3 healing abilities, as well as a very good counter where you can push enemies behind. This is the reason why it's a very passive option and very good for survival. When you are not using a double dash like in this build, I would always recommend to use the extra movement speed from the green amulet. The most important jewel is for Bloodrite, where you need the invisibility on your jewel. For the Veil of Blood you also cannot make anything wrong. There's only good jewel stats you can have, but here are the perfect ones. At the end, these are the jewels you should use for Blood Rage. They are the same as in build 7. Now we are on the top 3 with Soulburn. This damage of the build gets absolutely broken when you get the legendary axe and the legendary spear. Especially in teamfights when everybody is panicking and uses all their buttons, this build is very strong. Soulburn puts a unique status effect on your enemy called Spell Block. It lasts for half a second, and when the enemy is pressing a button while they are spell blocked, they get silenced, and when they are silenced, they can't do anything but walking. This build relies on enemies' mistakes, but against not experienced players or in team fights, this build is insane. One combo example: first you pull the enemy towards you, then you silence them, reaper them away, and put the axes on them. These are the jewels we should use for this build. First the Veil of Chaos, Discharge, and Soulburn. Come to the 2nd place. This is my favorite build and it has everything you need. It has immediately punishment after they hit your counter. Overall feels great to play with the healing, with the discharge, and you definitely have to check it out. In this build you should use the Amulet of Spellweaver and as well as the Cloud Dancers to have a very creative option where you can do a lot of cool stuff. For the jewels we have the normal Veil of Chaos, the normal Discharge, and the normal Blood Rage. Finally we are at number 1. I call this build Cold Rage. White jewels, this build is absolute menace. It's a perfect combination out of buffs and heals and stuns and freezing and everything you need. You can put very good status effect on your enemies. You can play this also with every kind of weapon you want. It's very good with a mace or an axe as well. I play it here preferred with a whip. The enemy hits you close and when you activated your counter, you get a freezing and you can spear the enemy. And when they hit you from far away, you get a very good shield and bonus attack damage on your next attack. This you see on this next clip as well. Here you can see 100 damage just from one attack because of this OP jewel. You can also play this build with a power surge to give you extra movement speed, but it doesn't give you the healing when you put power surge instead. So keep that in mind. It also is very good with a sword when you play the power surge, because it has extra movement speed, a shield, and inflicts the chaos on your enemies. For the best build in this game, you should use the green amulet, the normal Veil of Chaos jewelry, Cold Snap with these stats, and Blood Rage with these stats. You could support me if you subscribe and like. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.